Now no one even waits for me to get it wrong. I think the stroke is over. Hello.
Hi.
Hello, humans.
Yeah.
Welcome
Hello.
to the Vergecast, the flagship podcast of TheVerge.com. The Vergecast is brought to you by Scissor Vodka, which is a vodka brand that I made up. And then I'm going to just
what can you do with
shamelessly
Scissor Vodka?
and cut through the night.
You know, we still haven't opened this bottle of Scissor Vodka.
Someone sent me a tweet and said there's another beverage brand. I believe it's Sprite that's running ads in Miami that say "Cut Through the Heat,"
Ooh,
which is just
not good.
it's like I recognize that everybody listens to the Vergecast, everyone in the entire world, and they mine us ruthlessly for ideas. But come on, Sprite. Anyhow, this is Vergecast. I'm Nilay Patel, the editor-in-chief of The Verge, joined by Dieter Bone.
Hello.
Addie Robertson is here.
Hi.
Nicola,
Hello.
tell the people what's up.
Oh, well, it's a sad day.
It's a super sad day.
I'm impacted.
So if you don't know, moments, an hour or so ago before the Vergecast began,
Yeah.
the world learned that Prince has died.
Yeah. Celebrity deaths don't usually hit me because it's like, I never knew you. We never had experiences together.
Everyone had an experience with Prince.
But Prince is like one of the ones that's like, oh, it hurt. Like, I feel it. I
Yeah.
really feel it.
So
I'm sad.
I grew up in Eden Prairie,
Minnesota. Prince is from Minnesota, is what
Yes.
Dieter should say.
so that's where Graffiti Bridge was located. And also I hung out probably about a mile and a half from Paisley Park all through my teenage years. So like Prince was just around. He was like part of the fabric of everything. Like if you walked in to a friend's house and like got to go hang out in their bedroom and they didn't have the Purple Rain poster of Prince on a motorcycle on their wall,
Yeah.
something was wrong.
Here's what I know you're listening to this and you're in your car right now, people, but take your car, wherever you are, turn it around, go home, watch Purple Rain.
Yeah.
That's what you need to do tonight. I mean, you've not seen, I know that you haven't seen
Oh
it.
my God, I've seen that.
Have you looked, you gave me I haven't seen it.
No. The thing is that I don't know where it's available. Like, I haven't looked super hard into it, but I don't think it's on like Hulu or Netflix.
I mean, Nicola, do you want me to buy you a DVD? I have it on VHS, which is hilarious because I know.
But like, where do you? Well, that was one thing because I had to run to a meeting like as soon as I left to go. Like as soon as I found out I had to be somewhere, and I was like, well, what am I gonna listen to on the subway? Obviously, Prince. And I went on Apple Music, and there's like only recent stuff.
Oh, you can rent it everywhere. You can rent it on Apple and Google Play and Vudu and YouTube and whatever else.
Paying.
Yeah.
I guess I'm gonna.
Yeah, it's worth it. It's worth
Yeah.
$3.
Yeah. That's my guess. I bet the price goes up. Do you think?
Oh, God.
That would be a terrible way to.
That's what I'm doing tonight.
That's how cynical I am. I'm just assuming that they're going to raise the price of Purple Rain.
Yeah.
But everyone should watch Purple Rain tonight.
On the other hand, that was kind of the weird thing about Prince earlier, that Prince was like the copyright antagonist musician.
Yeah.
Well, all of Prince's stuff is on Tidal and nothing else.
It's $4.99. Oh, that's HD. Never mind.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trying to find it, I was like, oh, this is a Verge story. Where do you find Purple Rain?
Well, so, I mean, Prince's history with the music industry and how it turned is actually, I think, a testament to how powerful his music is.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the reason he hated his record label, he hated Warner Brothers. He changed his name because his lawyers decided that Warner Brothers had a contract for Prince records, and if he changed his name to a symbol, they couldn't enforce the contract.
An innovator.
I mean, that's genius.
Yeah.
So then he put out symbol records until Warner Brothers was like, whatever, I'm out. And then when the internet hit, he was like, I'm not participating in this. If you want my music, you have to pay for it. And he pulled, Prince hated the internet for a long time. Then he was on Twitter, which was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then he decided that Tidal was the only service that he would.
Yeah.
All of that is incredible.
It is.
Just all of it is. Like if you think that this technology, he was just at the middle of it the whole time, making decisions that were contra to the entire industry.
Well, and then there was the whole PMRC, like Filthy 15, Tipper Gore stuff.
Yeah, well, you explain. I mean, that's like Prince railing against censorship in that way was also like totally forward thinking.
Yes, it was one of the 15 songs that was cited for having violence or satanic themes, or in his case, sex.
Yeah.
Quite obviously.
No, Prince actually wrote some hard death metal about Satan as well. He probably did, actually.
Well, so all my friends who listen to hard death metal would still listen to Prince.
Everyone
That's the
listened to
thing
Prince.
about Prince is that Prince is like the freak we all agree on. Like, he's such a weird angel. and everyone is like, yeah, I love Prince.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And underappreciated in like incredible ways because he's such a great musician. Prince, for example, amazing guitar soloist.
Yep.
He just like rips him out whenever he
that
wants.
Super Bowl
Yeah.
where everyone's like, what?
Yeah.
He just went, yeah.
Anyway.
I think that you should Google what's in Prince's fridge because there is an amazing. It's like, besides what Prince created for himself, it's the best Prince content ever. It's
I
so
shall
good.
Google right now. What's
It's
in
like
Prince's
a local
fridge?
Minnesota blog for this from 2011, and it's hotly debated if it's like fake or not. But they get permission to go through his fridge because it's like a bit they do on the blog, and they find like alfalfa sprouts and Dunkaroos. I love those crazy kangaroos.
Oh my God.
And that's when he said Prince's words. But Prince wasn't there at the interview. He only like provided comment by email later. It's like, you will be so happy. It's something you should look up.
Yeah. I mean, it's an incredible combination. His persona is an incredible combination of totally raw and honest and then sealed away.
Yeah.
Like it's a very unique. The idea that Prince is completely inaccessible to you because he's so talented and basically on another planet all the time, but then he's
And that
completely
planet
raw
is
all the
Paisley
time.
Park, which is the most anonymous building you could imagine in the most white bread suburb on the face of the earth.
Yeah.
Like Chanhassen, like it has Paisley Park and like a pretty bad dinner theater. Like, and that's its entire culture and like a Walmart now.
Yeah.
I love when a celebrity like stays where they came from,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
like nearby. You know, there's like he's like I'm not gonna do this in L.A. I'm gonna do this in suburbs of Minneapolis.
Yep.
No, Prince is like a Minnesota boy through and
Yeah.
through. I'm pretty sure he wears purple because he's a Vikings fan.
Did you ever
Wait,
hear the
I
song?
can't believe I just got away with
He
that.
wrote
And Dieter's like, I'm gonna roll with it.
he wrote a fight song for the Vikings.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Well, I think we're gonna look here. We can't do justice to Prince on the Vergecast.
No, we cannot.
We can try.
No.
But the way to do Prince justice is to go home and watch Purple Rain, which is
Pay $3.
one of it's to spend $3 on the memory of a true artist.
I'm gonna happen. That's a smart water.
Or
Spend a smart water on
Yes, spend a smart water. That's awful. That's how we commemorate our loved ones.
a smart water at the airport.
Yeah. Wait, do you buy discount smart water on the
No,
streets?
it's just like more expensive. Like it might be like $2.50 regular places, but it might be $3 and change at the airport.
I got it. Sad day. Anyway, so somber Vergecast upcoming, but we got to get into it. We got to do some news. We got to talk about some stuff. Are you playing this Viking
I was
song?
going to play the Viking song, but I'll let it go.
It's already sad enough,
Yeah.
man. Okay,
Oh, come on.
let's talk about this MacBook that Dieter has.
I have a rose gold MacBook in my hands.
Yeah, so this came out this week.
Yeah. It's a spec bumped MacBook. So it's the thin one. Looks and feels and acts, well, not acts, but looks and feels precisely like the old one. One USB-C port, one headphone jack, super thin keyboard, beautiful screen. So they put a Skylake class processor, but don't get too excited because it's still the Core M version of a Skylake processor.
Yeah.
Which means that it's slower.
A processor that wasn't power efficient enough for phones.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I think about that processor.
That's not totally unfair, but it's still fanless, which is pretty cool. So I haven't given it full benchmarks, but I've ran some benchmarks and I've been playing around with it, and I would say it feels about 25% faster than the last MacBook overall.
Wait, do you have the M3 or the M?
This is the M5.
Okay, the middle one.
Yeah. But 25% faster than the last MacBook is still not as fast as your average MacBook Air 13 inch.
Yeah.
But it if you were on the line and you're maybe, but I don't know. This is the one that'll be okay.
Yeah, I bought that
Right.
one the first day.
Yeah.
I have to buy a new MacBook.
Would you buy this color?
I'm gonna buy the gold.
You're gonna buy the gold.
Are you ready to live that dongle life?
Oh my God.
Please say more about that.
You can't plug your shit into it. You need to have adapters for everything.
Yeah, no, I was looking on the apple.com this morning and
Yeah.
I was I didn't realize I had so many choices. Oh, I gotta
There aren't
pick
that many
stuff.
choices.
There's
the
more
only
than I
Mac that
thought.
the only Mac that anyone should buy right now is that one. If that one is right for you, every other
seems-
Mac you should wait until
Yeah, do
June.
not buy a Mac unless this one is perfect for you, because everything else is getting updated. If you really want this Mac, get this Mac. If you just need to get a Mac and you're not sure if this is the Mac, you should wait.
How long?
At least till June.
Yeah,
Because
WWDC.
I don't know. My home computer's gonna make it.
I think
What's
the
your
Mac
home computer?
A MacBook Pro from like 2012.
Yeah.
Oh, you'll be fine.
It's been waiting
It's-
for a long time. It
Yeah.
can probably wait a couple more months.
So slow.
I mean, so
It also has a cracked screen.
I've told this. Yeah, that's rough. That's brutal.
Didn't know you could do that.
Oh, yeah.
But you can.
So I've told this story before. Becky has a MacBook Air that I bought from Dieter in like 2010 or 2011.
Yeah.
Because she had an original MacBook Air and she was rushing to go and take the LSAT in Chicago. Or no, not the LSAT. Jesus, the bar exam in Chicago, which is a bit more high pressure than the LSAT.
Yeah.
And you have to take it on a computer. And her MacBook Air died like 2 days before she had to get on a plane. And I was like, and Dieter was like, I'll just sell you this computer. So we just needed a computer. So like bought this computer and gave it to Becky. Becky went, passed the bar exam. That's great. Proud of her. And then we just kept it. Like, that was her computer. We never did the thing that we said we were going to do and like buy a new computer afterwards. And it's so old and the fans run full blast. Like every night I sit next to Becky on the couch and like hang out and we just listen to her computer's fan. That's what we do. It's I like the idea that I won't listen to that fan every night hasn't even occurred to me.
Yeah.
But the house will be peaceful.
What if it's part of your like relaxing at night, like a white noise? That
Yeah,
you've come
we need to
know?
buy a white noise
What if
generator.
it gets too quiet?
Well, it'll be like electric cars, how they have to simulate a motor noise. Eventually, we'll have computers that simulate a fan noise.
Exactly. This computer isn't fast enough, and it's like making vroom vroom sounds. But anyway, so I didn't want to buy her the old Retina one
Right.
because it was only just as fast as her 5-year-old computer, which
Yep.
is depressing. You don't want to spend $1,200 on a computer that isn't any faster. So this one is like slightly faster and totally pushed us over the hump.
It's way faster on the things that probably won't matter to her. Like disk write speed is like 90% faster. Disk
Yeah.
read speed is like, I don't know, 20,
Well, it's kind of like they
faster.
couldn't. I said this to you yesterday. It's
Yeah.
like they couldn't find a faster processor. So they're like, what about super fast SSDs?
Yeah. Well, they did.
That'll
I
make
mean,
it.
they did find a faster processor, and it gets an hour better battery life
Right.
than the other one, thanks to the processor. And Apple tells me that's about like the battery chemistry.
Yeah.
So it's the same milliamps, but it's instead of 37 watt hours, it's 40.
Yeah.
So they figured out something mysterious.
For the first time in history, battery chemistry has been improved.
Yeah.
Well, not history.
I don't know.
Past.
They did not make that claim.
I mean, Apple would.
Yeah.
There's a Johnny Ive video waiting to happen. It's like him in a lab coat.
When's the last time we got a Johnny Ive video?
He's like, we used to add nickel to hydrides, but now I've added lithium to these ions. That's not how you make batteries.
We haven't seen a Johnny Ive video since the Apple Watch.
No, Johnny Ive has disappeared.
Yeah.
He's out. He's out.
No,
of the
he
picture.
made like a yellow iPad for charity.
Yeah, but he hasn't done a product launch event video. I think they realized it had become self-parody.
Yeah, for
Like,
sure.
You can't hear the man say aluminium and be impressed anymore. Anyway, so we bought this one, but the dongle life, I asked Becky, I was like, this is going to be super annoying for you. We have MagSafe adapters all over the house. But the battery lasts longer, but now you have to use this one cable to plug it in, and there's no other ports. Do you plug anything into your computer ever? And all she said was, this is going to suck when I travel because I plug my phone into my laptop to charge it when I travel. And so I went on Amazon and bought her an Anker USB block with a USB-C. So that's her.
Yeah.
But it's you have to come up with these solutions for a really stupid problem.
Yeah, I mean, I carry, let me count. I carry I carry 4 adapters in my bag now.
What do
I
you
could
adapt
drop it
to?
down to 3. So one is USB-C out to a plug that has a USB-C to power in, an HDMI if I want it, and a regular USB-A. One is just a USB-A cable. One is a SD card reader, and one is another. I used to carry this multi-port thing, but it failed on me because it was cheap and not as good as they claimed. So techie, you're the worst. But because when that thing failed, I tossed it. But I was like, man, I don't trust these devices now. So now I carry an extra USB adapter just in case. So yeah, I carry 4 dongles.
I can't be living like that.
Yeah.
I use this as my biggest battery.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you should buy one. By the way,
You
does
can buy
anybody-
a USB-C to Lightning cable if you want. So you don't have to use an
For the
adapter to
phone.
charge your phone. But that cable's like $20
But
bucks.
my my PAX charges from.
You got to buy one of these Anchor things.
Yeah.
By the way, is anybody from Anchor listening to
If
this
you
podcast?
buy one of these Anchor batteries, you can use it to charge the laptop.
Where
which
did
is great.
Anchor come from?
They came from Google.
Yeah, it's a bunch of ex-Google engineers. They all moved to China, and now they make the best stuff.
Yeah.
They've just arrived on the scene.
Mm-hmm.
There was no Anchor, and now every time I'm like, I need a battery or a plug or whatever. I'm like,
you might
buy the Anchor
say
one.
they just dropped it.
Dieter is fired, and I didn't want to say this earlier because it is such a sad day. But Dieter, today will be your last day at the Verge. That was fucking awful. No, seriously. If you work at Anchor, or you have a loved one that works at Anchor, or you know anybody that works at Anchor, please tell me where they came from and like what their story is and how we can get a hold of them. We should do like an Anchor feature. How do you just get into the business of being the most dominant supplier of things with USB plugs? That's like a story. That's a Verge story.
Yeah, I want to know the short answer.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like there are a bunch of Google engineers who had a reasonable amount of design sense, and they realized there was a market for batteries and USB things. But those little USB bricks, I'm telling you, they're like revelatory.
Yeah, they're great.
They
All right.
change your life.
I got some thinking to do this weekend.
Yeah, about a new MacBook.
Yeah.
Yep,
But the gold one.
the gold one.
Yeah.
I went from like thinking about buying one of these ultra thin, not very powerful, carry it anywhere you go, battery lasts all day MacBooks to buying a like 20-pound laptop gaming rig in the space of about 20 minutes.
Wasn't there a VR capable laptop that came out today?
Yes.
Yes, it's the Acer Predator 17X,
I'm buying this laptop.
Cool name.
which just takes
Dude,
a
no.
normal desktop graphics card and substitutes it for the notebook graphics card that was in the original Predator 17.
So is the entire bottom of this thing a heatsink?
It's like 10 pounds, adds 2 pounds
mean,
to the other one.
This thing does look sick, but the real
I'm buying
answer
this
is,
laptop.
dude, you need to wait to see if you can get a Razer blade paired with a Razer core, and if that'll do it.
But that one weighs 10 pounds and has a desktop class GPU bolted to the bottom.
Yeah, you could. Instead,
It also looks like it's going to eat you.
you could instead get a laptop that isn't insane. It still has an insane light up keyboard. You'll get the requisite amount of insanity,
Yeah.
and then you just have a thing that looks like a tiny, like old Mac Pro tower that your graphics card goes in.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying, and
Yeah.
it is very appealing to me. But that laptop looks like it would burn a village down and then laugh while the blood of its enemies dripped from its jaws.
This laptop is straight out of Witcher.
Sam says
Yeah.
that it was inspired by intergalactic battleships in his review, I believe.
See, we need this thing.
How do you?
We got it.
I mean, every gaming laptop is inspired by something ridiculous and terrible, like a fighter jet
Yeah.
or
You're
a snake.
you've got a full desktop gaming rig at home, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And
like,
it's tasteful.
One of my favorite Addy stories was like the very first CES. Addy showed up to cover the trade show with a gaming laptop. It was so
And a
huge.
netbook.
And a netbook. But the netbook wasn't powerful enough. So by the end, you would see Addy and she would just be like hidden behind this like monster. What was it?
It was an Asus. I forget what year. It was like 2010 or something. I gave it to James to take apart and take pictures of. So I'm sacrificing it.
It was incredible. I mean, that was an incredible laptop and an incredible moment. And I think gaming laptops should come back.
yeah.
Well, theoretically,
think
they're
they're
gonna with VR PCs. Although, really, they're just good for people who make games and have to cart around a VR setup all the time to
Yeah.
show other people.
Yeah, but I don't want to buy I don't want to buy a gaming PC. Like I've thought about it a lot. But where am I going to put it? Like I think gaming laptops that can do VR are the solution to the what is my VR room problem that we've talked about in the show like a bunch of times.
Right.
Right? You can just like unfold it, put it down, plug in the headset, and go. And I mean, this is a ridiculous solution.
I mean, which is great for the Rift. For the Vive, it's like you already have so many plugs and so much crazy stuff
Yeah.
that it's like, what's one more thing?
Well, the other solution that might end up happening is your console is going to do it because PlayStation can run PSVR. There's a PlayStation Neo apparently that's coming. It'll be faster, and now we're hearing rumors that there's a next Xbox 1.5 that's also maybe going to be more powerful and be able to support VR directly. Nobody knows yet.
Yeah.
It would be absolutely insane if you could run the Oculus Rift off an Xbox One.
Yeah, but it might not be insane if you could.
Oh, no,
I
insane
don't
in a
know.
good way.
Oh, okay.
Like, that would be kind of crazy if that was their solution to you needing a giant gaming PC.
Right.
Yeah.
And I keep on pointing out that Microsoft and Facebook are very, very close. A lot closer than people seem to think.
Yeah.
Is my belief.
Okay.
I mean, there's an Xbox One controller in the thing. Why
That's
wouldn't
true.
Oculus go to Microsoft and be like, look, you want it to be a Windows 10 PC? We need a really powerful Windows 10 PC. Just upgrade that thing. But it's the Xbox One, so it'll probably just crash along the way.
Yeah.
I own an Xbox One, so I'm allowed to be salty about the Xbox One.
I have to. I took the risk of putting the Xbox One in an entertainment cabinet, and I would say every third time I use it, I need to like open the door, point a fan at the box, because it's
Really?
like there's space for it to vent, but just not quite enough.
Mine has a delightful new problem where it decides that controllers no longer need to pair to it.
Oh, that's nice.
So why don't you just unplug it all the way and go have a drink, talk to an old friend on the phone, plug it back in, and see if it wants to play a game.
Xbox One only today got a HBO Now app.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Addy, would you 1 to 10? How's the Xbox One doing in the market? Is it fine?
I mean, I guess it's okay in the same way that like Windows is kind of always okay, no matter how bad it is.
Yeah.
Because it's the thing that plays maybe some of the games that you want.
Yeah.
And I mean, PSVR seems like it could be a really cool draw for PlayStation, but there will always be people who don't want a PlayStation or who
Yeah.
want another thing.
No,
Actually-
and those people are very mad at you right now.
There are more people that don't want a gaming PC than there are people who don't want a PlayStation, right? There's enough people that have a PS4 that I still think the PSVR is like going by this holiday. We'll be anointing the PSVR as like the winner for a while.
I mean, maybe for gaming stuff, VR is so multifarious that like the Vive is announcing some kind of commercial partnership with like an architecture firm.
Speaking of VR, if you didn't hear last week, I do need to disclose that
Man, we forgot.
my wife works for Oculus.
Not yet. It's
Well,
like days away.
Yeah.
By the time you listen to this in your car.
Yeah,
In your car.
Yeah.
there you go.
Dieter's wife works for Oculus. He's hopelessly corrupted.
But I do not hear anything about Oculus from him, so
Yeah.
Yeah, that is also true.
Yeah. It's just
Also,
really.
I just said it was going to lose, so I don't know if you're mad.
I mean, it's really just this show where that issue is presenting itself. All the rest of the site, it's like there's like all these walls and procedures, and
Yeah.
Dieter knows not to do it. But then we're all like, Dieter, come on the Vergecast. He's like, I can't talk about anything today.
Yeah.
We'll get through it. And if you, the audience, think it's such a problem, let us know. But I suspect you, the audience, are going to come with us on this journey into ethical boundaries.
Do you enjoy watching Dieter be uncomfortable? Tune into the Vergecast live at 4:30 Eastern on Thursdays.
We also got to figure out what we're going to do when you go to San Francisco.
This is true.
Let me know in the comments or on Twitter if you would die without a live Vergecast.
Let me know if you'd prefer not a live Vergecast or a Vergecast without Dieter.
Ooh, there's no Vergecast. No, I'm not doing that. I'm not having this conversation.
Okay.
Conversation over. Anyway, let me ask you a question about rose gold things.
Yes.
So that what? That's next on my list.
Okay.
It's just here on the list.
Fair.
Several weeks ago, you came on the show and you're like, I don't understand why there's so much rose gold. It's over. Apple's doubled down on rose gold. That is the
can't
rose
believe it.
goldest thing they've ever made.
I got feelings.
Samsung
I can set
decided
like rose gold signals.
it's really rose gold. Samsung put out pink
really-
gold Galaxy S7s this week. What's going on? Is this gonna just keep happening to us?
I'm so confused because this I think comes from Apple, and Apple is keeping an eye on trends outside of technology, obviously. Like
Yeah.
that's her thing. And seeing like, okay, there's like a lot of rose gold jewelry going around. It's like kind of in the ether. So then they like go into this version of rose gold that's so pink, and it's so weird to me because it reminds me of like the weird brightly colored like desktop Macs and like iPod minis of
Yeah.
my aughts experience. And then they like move totally to like slick, like you don't see like there's no green iPhone now. And this to me is like cartoonish in color. And I imagine if it was the same thing but it was blue or green, it would look weird. It's weird to me.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be this saturated. It should be desaturated.
One tick down.
Like 3. It'd be cool if it was like a gentle rose gold, but this is dusty salmon.
I mean,
Ooh, that's my new beach bar, the Dusty Salmon.
Dusty salmon. Scissor vodka shots hour from
the Dusty Salmon.
yeah.
Yeah, 5 to 7 every night.
And how do you make it salmon colored though? Because you would need to combine There's a pink scissor vodka. I
mean,
don't know.
don't you just add a drop of cran?
Yeah.
That's the dusty salmon at the dusty salmon. It's a little bit of cranberry juice.
Shouldn't there be
Not
some
for
like
flavor?
Shouldn't
but
there be
for
some
color.
glitter in it?
What kind of bar do you think I'm running, Teeter?
Maybe
Just
it's
saying.
Aperol.
What,
It's
for
a
like
beach
the-
bar. You come to
like the
chill out. You don't come to
scales?
get lit, huh? No, the scale. I see. Addie, weren't you saying that you would buy a colorful computer today? I saw you like dropping pictures of old iMacs somewhere.
Yeah, so I've missed out on absolutely every generation of colorful Apple things. I missed out on the iBook. I wanted one really badly. I missed out on the iPod minis. By the time I was buying Apple products, they were all super brushed aluminum.
Yeah.
And I really like the era of things that seem kind of weird and personalized.
Yeah.
And I also just would love like a dark kind of emerald green one.
I love the idea of this emerald green.
Yeah.
I think it'd be really nice, but like super dark.
Okay. Like your fern. No, darker than the fern.
Darker than the fern.
Okay. But like
Edging
but like,
into jade territory.
oh, I see. But
Somewhere between.
with that hint of metallic.
With that little flash.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah. That could be nice.
I've never been a green person, but this is a green I can get behind.
Yeah. No, I think green is on the come up. Watch
Green-
out. It could be the next rose gold.
Green is my least favorite color. Sorry, Addie's wearing a green shirt. Addie, your shirt's great. Green is my least favorite color.
It's okay. I don't have a strong investment in my shirt.
What about like
James Barham loves green. Our creative director loves green. He's constantly showing me green things. I'm like,
Green in what context? What kind of green?
what kind of green? Like is it,
Green
is
has
it
a lot
general
of range.
forest?
generally
green?
not a green
The
person.
problem with the internet is it doesn't show cool like dark army or dark forest green very well. Like the only green that works in the internet is like green.
You know, it's going to sound like I'm fucking stoned, but go with me. Computers are very bad at colors. Have you noticed this? Like
Yes.
red on the internet is a huge problem. Nothing red can exist on the internet because JPEG compression will crush it to hell, or you have to deliver like a massive PNG.
Yep.
It's like red's just out of the question.
Interesting.
And then, as Dieter's saying, green, somewhat out of the question. Just fades into black when you get it dark enough to be really cool.
Yeah.
It's just a real problem.
Interesting.
We live in a color space that is tightly defined by shitty web browsers.
Wow.
And that's
Also-
all the colors that you can imagine in the world are like Netscape coded them in like 1994.
I mean, I also have to check everything I do on multiple computers if I really want to see how it's going to look.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a real problem. Everyone should just have a 5K iMac with the increased color gamut. And we should-
Including on their smartphones.
That's a really weird transition to the next thing.
Okay.
Do you want to transition to the next thing?
No, because
We
I
got
don't
to.
have it in
We
front
got.
of me.
Addie, do you want to talk about Magic Leap right away, or do you want to?
Sure.
Do you want to take a quick digression into Google and the EU? Which way do you want to go?
We can go into Google EU.
Okay.
Yeah.
So big news. And
Yes.
if you're listening to this live, I encourage you to come back to the audio version because I actually interviewed a professor of antitrust law at the University of Chicago, and we're going to stick that into the recorded version when it goes out. But the big news is that the EU filed an antitrust case against Google saying that they're illegally using their Android monopoly to tie Google search in the Google Play Store. And they're tying them together and illegally using the Android monopoly in the European Union to force out competitors to Google search on mobile and force out competitors to Android, which is a weird thing to think about Google doing because they make Android.
Yep.
But
Is it just Google search or is it also other bundled Google apps?
so it's like two different things. So there's Google search. So actually the way this case broke down, and again, you should listen to Professor Andy Picker, who explains this better than I do. But the way this case breaks down is the EU decided that Google Shopping was illegally promoting Google results or Google favored results.
Okay.
And they said, we're opening an investigation. They went and investigated Google Shopping and came back and said, this Android thing sucks.
So Google Shopping was the whitewater of this case.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Man, deep Clinton ref. Right
Well, I
there.
mean, the other parallel is the 90s fight against Microsoft that made them offer like the whatever the list was when you bought a Windows computer
browser
in
ballot.
Europe. You had to do the browser ballot. And so Microsoft EU went after Windows because they were like forcing other browsers off of their computer or forcing people into IE, they said. So when you got a new Windows computer, they like gave you the choice of several other browsers.
It wasn't several. Do you know how many browsers it was?
It was
When you-
Firefox.
When you booted up a new Windows PC in Europe, a Windows 7 PC in
Yeah.
Europe, for over a year, the first thing you saw was a list of 17 randomized browsers.
Yeah.
So that Microsoft could not illegally promote a default browser.
Yeah.
This immediately broke in Windows 7 Service Pack 1, and no one noticed for 17 months because it was such a shitty idea. And Randy goes, whatever. Anyway, So their thing is Google is using Android to promote Google search by having Google search be the default, and they make the browser vendor sign a contract saying Google search will be the default. That's one part of the case.
Well, browser vendors or
phone vendors. Phone manufacturers. It's the 90s all over again.
yeah.
Clinton's running for president. The EU's going after a browser maker. And then on the other side, which is the way nerdier, but to me far more interesting side, is Google forces every single manufacturer to sign what's called an anti-fragmentation agreement, so that if you make an Android phone and put Google's apps on it, to get Google's apps, you have to promise not to fork Android and make another version of Android.
And not on that phone, but like across your entire product line.
Yeah, you have to use Google's Android and only Google's Android. So Samsung can't fork Android and make its own version of Android, which they could do because Android is open source. But if you want Google stuff, which is the reason anybody wants an Android phone, you got to stay in the ecosystem.
Right.
So the obvious two comparisons that leap to mind are Amazon, which bundles none of Google's shit but makes its own version of Android for the Fire tablet, and Xiaomi, which kind of exists in a weird...
Well, there's a bunch of
there's a bunch of Chinese ones, but Xiaomi exists in a particularly weird zone.
Yeah.
Right, because they make the Mi OS.
Right.
But I think they have some Google
But you can
stuff.
get some Google stuff and other things. And I wonder if they get an exception, one, because they're huge and powerful, but
And
two,
Google's
because
not in China.
Google's not in China, and so they have to fork it in order to offer services, in order to help Android, exist in China, basically.
Yeah, so but those are the two leaders in the market that are doing
Right.
this. There are a bunch of Chinese vendors who have forked Android, but who gives a shit because they're all tiny.
Well, but they add them all together, especially in the Chinese market and, like Brazil and so on, like in India. They add up to a pretty sizable chunk of like the overall Android market share.
Okay, so
But not in Europe. In Europe, it's something like 80% of all phones are like straight Google Android.
So what I would say to you is the way we usually talk about that is we're like 80% of phones are running Google's Android. That's a good thing. Google's got to get a hold of China because everyone's running away with Android and they're going to lose their right. We usually talk about it in the sense that Google having their apps in their platform is a good thing and the fragmentation is a bad thing. The EU is straight up saying Google's control over their platform is a bad thing, and Google is illegally preventing consumers from accessing other potentially superior versions of Android with their anti-fragmentation clause, which maybe is true, but just sounds like the deepest bullshit I've ever heard.
But it's also like that there is no other non-Android operating system, I guess, besides iOS that you could pick otherwise. It's not just that like Android is promoting like its own version of Android. It's that you can't pick anything else, right?
Yeah. Well, so how are you reading that? Is that good or bad?
I mean, it's moot. Like,
Yeah.
I kind of wish that there were more operating systems.
But wait,
But
there were
there
like
aren't.
6 like 4 years ago, and then we all just picked 2. Right? There were not 4, maybe more than 4 years ago. Like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, there were at least 6 mobile operating systems vying for dominance in the market. And we all just picked Android and iOS.
Right.
Right. Windows Mobile is
Windows Mobile, Windows Phone.
Windows 10 Mobile.
Yeah.
So that is just happening.
Yeah.
Palm, WebOS.
Well, Palm OS and then WebOS.
Yeah. And now the Magic Bean on the TV. Symbian. I mean, just like down the line.
Yep.
Mamo.
Mimo.
I mean, there's just like...
And like Mamo, by the way, is like related to like 8 other operating systems that we're not bringing up here.
Yeah. Migo. Migo turned into Mamo.
Yeah.
Firefox tried to have a mobile... I mean, like, there
Ubuntu.
is attempts to have competition in the market. It's not that LG is like hamstrung in releasing its own OS.
There's Tizen.
There's Tizen. Cool. I'm so proud of you. By the way, it's sad that Tizen's the only one that's even viable, and it's the last one we remember.
The challenge to your like line of thinking here that like the EU regulators are just crazy for thinking that that Google should just let there be forks of Android and it would like the fragmentation is not an issue because we actually like Google owns it, is if they had done that from the jump, then they wouldn't have been able to build the relatively cohesive ecosystem they have underneath Google Play.
Right.
It might be now if Google were to like say, okay, fine, we're going to get rid of the non-fragmentation agreement, that a bunch of people would jump at the chance and they'd realize that Google already has too much of an advantage in the Play Store and they would wither because people just want to get the Google stuff. But the question is like, why can't Google say, yeah, go ahead and do whatever you want, make whatever you want, but you only get Google apps on like the phones that we approve?
Right. I don't know.
That's like the question.
I mean, is Google so much more powerful? But if you're Google, you make Android, you give it away for free, and you say if you want the rest of our stuff, you have to agree not to screw with it.
Although I will say that like the version of the way that most people who have Google Android devices experience it, like a lot of the best stuff in it is the Google stuff. And I'm not just talking about, Gmail and Photos and the Chrome browser.
And the persistent ad tracking.
Yeah. They're pushing out security updates via the Google Play ecosystem. They're pushing out browser updates via the Google Play ecosystem. So the divergence between like the fully open source do it how you want with it version of Android and Google's version of Android is getting wider.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the solution here, I think this is ridiculous, like fundamentally, which is why, by the way, and again, if you're listening to this live, some of this will be edited out, and there's like this conversation with Professor Picker, but he and I disagree. He's an antitrust professor.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm just like, this is ridiculous. Like the reason Android is successful is because Google exerts this control. And 3 years ago, the conversation was, can Google control fragmentation in their ecosystem? And they figured it out. Mostly. But they figured it out. Like the worst example of fragmentation right now in the ecosystem is like
OS versions.
Samsung can't stop putting dumb water drop sounds on the phone.
Oh, they did. They totally stopped putting water drop sounds on the phone.
They're still there. I had an Uber driver with an S7 the other day, and it was definitely...
Well, you can turn them on if you like them.
Yeah, but they're there. I mean, just as a matter of taste. Like, don't put them there. Make people work for them much harder.
Yeah.
It's a terrible idea.
You can get one on your pink Galaxy.
Yeah.
S7.
LG's launcher is still a disaster. It's just stuff, right? It's like these tiny little problems. But the actual phones are fine, and like the app developers are happy, right? They can like ship an app and it works on a bunch of phones.
Yeah, they're happy. They're just not getting paid.
Yeah. Maybe we should all stop having phones. Back to laptops. Stop using your phone. Anyhow, Professor Picker's point is like the EU doesn't care. Like they are all in favor of market fragmentation because they see that as more competition. And his big example was Windows Media Player, which the EU also sued Microsoft over. And they forced, this was the remedy. It's bananas. They forced Microsoft to sell 2 identical copies of Windows at retail, one with Windows Media Player and one without it, for the same price so that the market could decide. And everyone picked the version with Media Player. And it's like, what are they going to, like, have they learned nothing? Have they learned nothing from this experience? They're going after Google. What are they going to make Google do? And isn't Google's best remedy to just make their own phone, which all of us kind of want them to do?
Yeah.
Right? Like, okay, fine, Samsung, you can fork away. Enjoy. We're going to make our own phone, and it's going to be the high-end phone competitor to the iPhone that everybody wants Google to do.
Yep.
Right? I'd buy that phone. I mean, I did buy that phone. It's called the Nexus 6P.
Yeah.
I just wish it had a better camera.
The camera's fine. It's good.
It's not good.
Yes, it
Addie,
is.
what phone do you have right now?
Still the HTC M8, which is actually kind of broken. I can't use headphones with it anymore.
Ooh.
Well, headphones are a thing of the past.
Are you going to get an M10? Or, I'm sorry, a 10?
No, I'm going to wait. I'm buying my phone purely based on what's best for VR, which means I'm going to wait and see if Google announces something with Tango, and then if they don't, I'm going to get an S7, I guess.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean,
What carrier are you on?
that is the phone to get.
I'm on an MVNO. I'm on Straight Talk.
Okay.
I'll just swap my SIM.
No, MVNOs are great. I actually am Super Pro MVNO, Super Pro prepaid. I think that's the way to go.
My parents signed up for AT&T Uverse, so now I have unlimited data.
Ooh.
But they also...
Wait, you're on your parents' plan?
Well, I pay for them.
Okay.
Oh, reverse parents.
I mean, it's not like they use any data.
Yo, my mom and I are gonna start splitting a plan. So I was
Yeah.
like, can you just look and see like how much data you use so I can like figure out what makes sense? And she was like, I used 0.7.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
My dad has my old iPhone 5, and it's still surprising him with capabilities. Like, it's adorably so. He's like, it can send text messages. I'm like, I know. I'm with you. But no, so they're on my plan. My mom's iPad is on my plan. They don't use any data. Mm-hmm. But then the Uverse people, like, showed up at the house, sold them the Uverse, tearing out all of my carefully constructed home theater setup for them, because that's what cable people do.
Oh man,
They
so
show
you
up
have
and
to
they just
fly
fuck
out to
with
fix
stuff.
it.
No, whatever. It's like you made your bed, like you lie in it. But then my dad, God bless him, was like, whatever. It's a great deal, unlimited data. I don't even need unlimited data. What else can you give me? And they're like, we're gonna set up a complete smart home for you. So like the garage doors are going,
No.
the locks are going.
No.
They're putting in motion detectors.
Oh my God.
ADT is out. There's a new security system. There's like, and my dad calls me. He's all proud,
He's
as
the
he should be.
one, like,
he's got a bunch of free shit, but. I was like, he's like, and there's going to be an app on the phone, and there is nothing more terrifying than hearing my parents say that they need to learn how to use a new app on their phones. There's a gnawing pit of despair in my life that comes from the idea of my parents calling me and saying, we're looking at the phone and something's wrong. Can you fix it? Because there's literally no way for them to appropriately communicate to me what's on the, like, no one can do it. You cannot describe an app on a phone.
No, you can't.
You just can't. Like, it doesn't matter how. Like, we do it professionally, but if like my Nest blows up and I call you and I'm like, "Can you fix my Nest app?" Just like it would still be hard.
You need to buy an LTE connected like drop cam.
Oh my god, I'm like getting
Plug it
emotional
in.
about this.
Yeah.
It needs to be like air gapped away from anything that they can touch or control in terms of their internet or home setup. It's just the camera, and all you can do is turn it on. You'd be like, just walk over to the camera.
Yeah, and
And
just
then-
hold up the camera.
Yeah.
Alternately, you could just use Skype.
No, because Skype happens. No. This is like
Don't they have like a
Skype
Chromebook
happens
or
on the
something?
phone. FaceTime happens on the phone. So the app breaks on the phone. They call me from the phone.
They totally have a Chromebook or something, right?
They do
can
have a
use
Chromebook,
Hangouts
yes.
or something.
No, we could do it. It's just their instinct. It's amazing. But anyway, so I'm dreading the day that the smart home install happens.
AT&T
But you
has
can't
been-
also be like, you should turn down free stuff.
AT&T has been trying to convince me
should turn
that
down
they are a
free stuff.
huge power player in the smart home every CTIA for like the past 5 years.
Yeah.
I've never believed them. And apparently I was wrong because they're selling it to...
They're not selling
Old
it.
man
They're
Patel.
literally just foisting it on the unsuspecting.
They're just like, they're not paying for any of this gadgetry
No,
that's
it's
getting installed.
showing up in their house. They're like, sign up for Uverse. And I was like, cool, we'll get free data. Wait, I don't need any data. My son used it, but we're fine. What else can you give me? And they're like, smart home, and just like foisted it on them.
Oh my God.
Can they turn around and sell all the smart home stuff?
I don't know. No, I think that AT&T comes and installs it for you. So you'd have to like uninstall it.
They could strip it out, sell it for parts.
I mean,
I feel like
do
it's
that.
probably leased or something. Like you probably have to give it back.
You are
you almost
super
certainly have to
doomed.
like rent it.
Yeah.
Although I do the picture of Addie going to my parents' house with like a tool belt and just like stripping the smart home for parts and like leaving the house as a shell, and like Addie's driving away in a pickup truck. It's like kind of amazing. I don't know. Whatever. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Also, this is another story. We were looking at a house in a rural area, and we were like, how do we get internet at this house? And the Verizon salesperson told us that all of the internet in the area had been used up. And if you would like to add internet to this house, we'd have to go talk to the neighbors and convince one of them to disconnect their internet so that we could hook up our internet.
I'm fairly certain I've
well.
actually heard that at my in-laws' house.
Is that real?
I don't know if it's real.
'Cause
The
back-
internet
That
there is
can't
very
be
weird.
real.
Becky called me and she's like, I don't think this is real. Like, she's like, I want you to talk to them. I was like, what's the threat? She's like, well, I don't think they know what you do. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Verizon workers shouldn't be on strike. Should be on strike.
Yeah.
They're marching in front of the office the other day wearing shirts that said invest in FiOS, not executive pay, which I thought was a very clever burn.
Yeah.
If you want to strike deep at the heart of New Yorkers, you tell them that Lowell McAdam is taking a paycheck instead of giving you FiOS.
I wonder if I can get Google Fiber where I'm moving.
Okay. Let's all Google for internet access.
Yeah.
All right, Addie, let's talk about Magic Leap.
Okay. So Magic Leap, we haven't heard anything about him, and then we heard lots of things about them, but they weren't very useful things.
Yeah, I mean, what did we hear? So,
Okay,
how badly are we going to burn Wired in this segment? I would say
Look, I
medium.
think
I'd
it's-
say
I
you've
like
already
Kevin
started.
Kelly. I think Kevin Kelly is a very, we interviewed him for my VR piece. I think he's a really good writer, and I think that they probably did the best that they could with Magic Leap. It's just that Magic Leap will not reveal anything.
Well, let's start at the start. So,
Yeah.
early Wired, and God bless Wired. Like, we know a lot of people who work there. David Pierce works at Wired. Good friend of mine. Good friend of all ours. Joe Brown, Wired's managing editor. Great dude, right? Great staff, great magazine. Kevin Kelly wrote a piece for Wired. Kevin Kelly was the original editor-in-chief of Wired.
And who also, like, wrote a ton about virtual reality in the late 80s, early 90s. Like, he's OG VR.
Yeah. They commissioned him to write a cover story for Wired this month about a company called Magic Leap, which has $1.4 billion in investment from Google, from Anderson Horowitz, from like rando celebrities. They are located in Miami.
Central Florida?
They're located somewhere in Florida, like an office
I
park.
think they're in around Orlando,
That makes sense.
but I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
and
By the
Nico's
way,
just
I
making
live-
a face.
I lived in Central
Suboptimal.
Florida. I knew Central Florida.
I am Central
You
Florida.
don't want to. You don't.
Anyway.
It's Fort Lauderdale. They're right outside Fort Lauderdale.
Okay, Fort Lauderdale. The Orlando of Miami. Does it make any sense?
Yes,
Doesn't make any sense.
makes perfect sense.
Anyway, so Wired writes this huge cover story about this company, Magic Leap, which is doing an augmented reality thing. Like, that's what they're doing. So you look around the room and you see computer vision stuff.
reality.
Wired agrees to call it mixed reality and not augmented
Okay,
reality.
we call it HoloLens. Microsoft always asks us to call it mixed reality too, and we occasionally grudgingly do. Mixed reality is the term everyone likes because augmented reality is the thing that you looked at through your smartphone and it would put Wikipedia place markers on everything.
Right.
We ruined augmented reality.
We're
Congratulations.
gonna call all of it the same thing. We're gonna call it all 360 Maver. 360 mixed augmented virtual reality.
Our video team was just at NAB, and they were, if you
National
listen to the show,
Association of Broadcasters show convention.
yeah, the big trade show for video people.
Yeah.
And they came back very depressed that they're all going to lose the 360 versus VR battle because everyone there just calls it VR. It's like 360 video doesn't exist. Everyone just calls it VR. They're very unhappy about that. Like, I got a late night text from Tom Connors that was like, I hate you, but you're going to win.
Yeah, but, I mean, that's not correct. Like, VR 360 is a subset of 360 video.
I can't do this again. We did it for an hour on the show after the floating piece. Anyway, so Magic Leap is this company. They're doing mixed, augmented reality, whatever. Wired goes
They're
into
doing holograms.
They're doing yeah. You wear presumably a headset, and you can look around the room and like. There's videos of it, and you look around the room and like screens pop up and jellyfish float through the air, and it's enhanced. It's like, what do they say? It's like you're dreaming while you're awake.
Yes.
Stuff happens to reality that isn't real.
I vaguely had heard somebody was saying that when you go in and you try it out for the first time, what they do is they like put you in a room and some things are holograms and some aren't, and they ask you to pick out which things are real and you can't. And I have no idea if that's true or not. I strongly suspect that it's not, or it's actually very easy to pick them out. But
Yes.
people have very high hopes.
Anyway, so Wired wrote this piece. The piece is like 10,000 words long. It's
a nice like overview and history of.
It's an overview and history of VR.
Yeah.
Of
VR and AR, which is MR.
I just want to
VR plus AR equals MR.
I disagree with you.
You might say it was like a comprehensive 360-degree take on VR and AR and MR.
I want to kill myself. Like, what's worse, this argument or letting AT&T install smart home in your house? Like, what is a more painful way to go? Anyway, so it's very long. It's beautifully written because it's Kevin Kelly and it's Wired. You should read it. But the actual descriptions of Magic Leap in it are insane. There's one description, and it's like, it ends with, but Magic Leap won't tell us how it actually works. The CEO of Magic Leap is quoted as saying, your brain is like a graphics processor, and we're hacking the GPU of the brain, which just doesn't make sense. Like, in a very real way, makes no sense.
I mean, it makes sense, but it only makes sense in that, like, I don't know, this screen is hacking the GPU of my brain by pretending that there's a person on it, but it's actually a video.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, everything tricks your brain.
Yes.
That's what things do.
Today, Addie very dramatically covered her eyes with her hand and said, I'm hacking my brain. It's super funny. I mean, it's crazy. There's a video. The video is equally crazy because the actual engineers of Magic Leap are like, we can't describe what it is. And one of them's just like, it's so real. And they all look like they are in a cult, basically. They're all talking like they're in a cult.
I mean, have you been to Florida?
I mean, Dieter did used to live there.
Yeah.
How are you?
I also lived in Miami for
Are you
a
clear?
while.
Is that what Scientologists do? And then today, and then there was a second follow-up piece published yesterday in Wired.
Which starts with, I have such a strict NDA that I can't tell you anything.
Yeah. So it's like,
Now-
I went and visited Magic Leap, but my NDA is so hard, I literally can't write about
By
it.
also another great writer.
Another great writer.
Yeah,
Jesse Ample is
yeah.
fucking amazing. So Magic Leap has convinced this like beautiful, wonderful publication that we love to not publish anything about their visit to Magic Leap.
And they did a great,
And they wrote around
job.
that NDA as
Yeah.
best as any human being could possibly write around that NDA. But then today, Magic Leap just dropped like how many patent filings?
I think it's 7, and I'm never certain on what's an updated filing and what's like a thing that's just being published or whatever. But 7 things were pinged in my updates today.
Yeah.
7 patents, and they're all about like optical projection.
Yeah. So they revealed what the thing is today.
Or they false flagged it, and this actually has nothing to do with it.
Oh, they just patented it because this isn't it.
because it's actually magic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I know what it is. Because if you go back and read older coverage, it's like over time they're getting more secretive.
It is obviously little projectors in your eyes. It's obviously HoloLens, because Kevin Kelly says it is.
Yeah. Well, no. This was the argument Eddie and I had earlier today. HoloLens is like a screen in front of your eyes. I think what they're doing is this light field stuff where they're actually making your eyes believe the light is coming from farther away.
I mean,
They're doing that with a projected screen. It's like it's a different method. Like the patents, the way I vaguely interpret them as someone who doesn't know much about optics is that it's like it diffuses this. It's still projecting a thing. It goes through a waveguide, which is like a bunch of lenses. But HoloLens, theoretically, it's like, okay, it projects a flat screen onto your eyes. It looks good. But as perspective, Magic Leap, it can project it at different angles that will trick your brain into thinking it's at different focal lengths.
Right.
So it's like the same fundamental technology. It's just applied in a way that does something different.
But HoloLens doesn't fool your brain into different focal lengths. They project a flat plane image.
But they're using the same like fundamental method of like the fundamental technology. One of them is just using it to do something different.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't obviously used Magic Leap, but I've used HoloLens, and like things that the holograms don't all look like they're the same distance, right? And like, sure, they might be using different tricks, but it's not fundamentally like, oh, garbage. Like it's like the only problem with HoloLens is that the field of view is too small.
Right. Oh, and by the way, the CEO of Magic Leap, when the HoloLens came out, went on did a Reddit AMA where he was like, the HoloLens will burn your brain into goop.
So I was going back and reading that, and it also like, does HoloLens use stereoscopic anything? Because I'm not convinced that it does, because that's the weird thing with Magic Leap, and the weird thing with Kevin Kelly's piece is that on the one hand they're like, oh, this thing, there's HoloLens, but this is better. But every time they directly compare it to something, it's either something like Google Glass, which obviously sucks, or it's to stereoscopic VR, which is a literal screen in front of your eyes. It's a totally different thing.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, but I mean, if you look at the few photographs, it seems like right now the thing is fixed. It can't move because everyone has their head in a thing.
So that was actually the informative piece of the follow-up thing, is that when they tried it in December, it was tethered.
Right. Well, tethered to a computer. I mean, I think it's fixed in place. Like nobody even knows if it's a headset or if it's like right now a demo rack that you like put your face in, like you're getting your teeth examined.
Or you're going to the optometrist or something.
Yeah. That who knows? I mean, it all just sounds insane. My question is, there's no ship date, and they have said they don't even have a timetable to ship a thing.
Yeah, it's like years out.
How are they going to... Why are they dropping all this hype right now? And how can you possibly... If you watch the demo videos are full of software that cannot exist. Like, it looks like you're in the world of a 1990s edutainment CD-ROM. Like, that's what it looks like. Like, I don't know how else to describe that.
That's
a
a
cool
very-
world?
Huh?
Is it a cool world?
It's like an E-World?
Cool world.
What's Cool World?
A movie
Oh.
from the 90s?
No. I was thinking of eWorld, the failed Apple online service from the 90s.
Really?
Yeah.
No, you don't. It's like cartoons that are like live in the real world. Okay, never mind.
No, I don't know what this is about.
Cool.
That's Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
No.
That'd be dope, though.
Dude.
If Magic Leap could give you Who Framed Roger Rabbit, I would live in the Magic Leap.
I think the thing is that everything Magic Leap people are saying, which is like, it's like magic, it would sound really great if HoloLens didn't exist.
Cool World
Right.
does knock off Roger Rabbit, by the way, if you're wondering.
Got it.
Okay.
Like, as much as, I hate the HoloLens's field of view and stuff, it already is these things, and HoloLens kind of is like magic.
Right.
Like, it's amazing. It's just that they keep describing this amazing thing that kind of already exists. It's like if you kept talking about this amazing moving picture thing
Yeah.
in, like, the early 1900s.
Yeah, I think that's like the problem. It's too much technology is too familiar to people. So when they are doing this like spirit journey vocab that they do, it's like, well, no, tell me how it works. Is it glasses? Is it glasses like HoloLens? Is it a thing like the Rift? What's the computer? What are the specs of the computer you need? And they want to do that Apple thing. Are you watching Cool World
Yeah,
right
it
now?
stars Brad Pitt and Gabriel Byrne and Kim Basinger.
Okay.
I'm gonna watch this silently while you guys talk.
watching this.
I just think the audience is too familiar with how technology works to get away with that bullshit.
Yeah, but I also I don't know what they can do. If I were a company that got a ton of money and had some kind of crazy idea and evolved from like a transmedia comic book company, as they did, and it was like, then 3 months into everyone knowing about me, Microsoft announced a thing that seemed very, very similar to the thing that I was doing, and they were actually showing it to people. I don't know, and I knew I was like 2 years out because I'm not Microsoft. I don't know what I would do.
Yeah. And every indication is that Apple doesn't really care about VR so much as AR. So, I mean, like, all the big players are going to show up at this store and try to make something great.
And Magic Leap's thing is that it seems to be focusing way more on entertainment than I think Microsoft or any of the others. Like, they hired Neil Stephenson. They work with What a Workshop.
Yeah.
And they have all of these other crazy artistic people working for them. And that all that, like, if they were just focused on making like the best holographic entertainment of all time, I think they could maybe get away with that. But all the stuff they show is operating systems.
Yeah, it's really weird. They show you like checking your email. They show Snapchats. It's like crazy. It makes no sense to me.
It's like Google Glass promo videos, like the original ones.
A rough burn by Eddie Robertson. Okay, we've got 5 minutes left. Let's do lightning round. Anyway, Magic Leap, very confusing.
I'm lost.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. It's designed to lose you.
Yeah.
Like you read these
lost.
pieces and they're like, everyone's like, it's like doing drugs, but you're sober.
Granted,
It's
that's
like-
how people talk about VR too. That's
Yeah,
how
it's
people
true.
talk about any VR and AR thing. It is unintentionally obfuscatory.
Wow, that is the best word that's ever been said on the Vergecast.
Yeah.
High five.
Obfuscatory, I think.
Obfuscatory.
Man, I'm so bad at high fives.
All right,
That was,
lightning round.
that was my fault, not your fault.
Lightning round.
Yeah.
400,000 Model 3 pre-orders for Tesla. For a car that no one has actually seen the real interior of.
Does it hack your brain?
So it hacks your brain.
Yeah.
When you're in the Tesla Model 3, it's like you're on drugs, but you're sober.
If they pull
But you're
off,
dreaming while you're awake.
If they pull off,
No one
selling-
knows how the Tesla Model
my
3
God.
works. Sorry. But you're in Fort Lauderdale.
If they pull off selling an
This all
eighth
sounds good
of
to me.
these by the end of 20, this thing is coming out.
Do you
Sometime
think they're in
2017?
Fort Lauderdale just to make the employees work harder at escaping Fort Lauderdale through the magic of virtual reality? Like, you can only leave here if you build a completely virtual environment around you.
Dude.
Like an inspiration technique.
Yeah.
Like a motivator.
Yeah. It's less inspirational and more like punitive, but you know, they're the same.
Fort Lauderdale's okay.
You can only leave Fort Lauderdale if you build a complete. That's a great movie. Like a hacker race movie. You're trapped in an awful environment, but you can only leave through the internet,
I love it.
and you have to turn your body into a series of bits.
It's not Ready Player
That's-
One.
Yeah. Actually,
Yeah.
it's technically the plot of Cool World. But man,
No one
into
can
the
challenge. No
cartoon
one
world.
can fact check Dieter on this. By the way, every movie is the plot of Cool World until someone watches the trailer. Would you pre-order a Model 3?
I have built my entire life around not owning a car, so no. But if I were ordering a car, and I had a couple of years to wait, and I was maybe planning to move in a couple of years, maybe. It seems cool.
That's crazy. You don't know what you're going to want in the future.
Dieter?
I would not, because I don't believe that they're going to ship this on time. And that if you are pre-order number 399,999, you're not seeing your car till 2020. Unless Tesla like shocks the world with their prowess at like actually manufacturing things at scale.
Granted, yeah, I'm like the only one in this room who pre-ordered an Oculus Rift. So
And do you get yours
Yeah,
yet?
where are you at on
no,
that?
I'm in. I ordered within the first 20 minutes, and I'm in mid-May, I think.
Yikes.
So the
What-
point is, I'm willing
Rough.
to pre-order things for reasons that may not be great.
What's your favorite Oculus ship date conspiracy theory?
I like the Xbox one. The one that Microsoft forgot to allocate all of the Xbox controllers.
You haven't heard this one? People are like comparing serial numbers.
Yeah, I have. I should not comment. My wife works for Oculus. But I will say that, guess what?
I like this.
I'm not saying I think it's true. I'm
Microsoft
just
is
saying I
pretty
like
good
it.
at making enough controllers. They're like, you can go buy a Microsoft controller pretty easy.
No, the theory
Their
is that
argument was
Oculus
that
is
they-
going to retail stores and buying controllers, right?
Yeah, their argument was that they needed like giant batches of them and that Microsoft allocated all the giant batches somewhere else. And so they had to like go and try to cobble them together.
Is this the massive amounts of Xbox Ones they're selling to unsuspecting
Yeah, that's what I'm
dupes?
saying, right? Like, it's not like there's somebody
All right,
else.
this is the lightning round. Phones without headphone jacks. The first wave of them came out in China. Leco put out 3 phones with USB-C jacks only. You need USB-C headphones. I think this is a stupid idea, and the headphone jack is fine.
Agree.
Yeah, it's miserable, but technically I'm making my HTC One M8 into that, so I guess I can't talk.
Because you broke it.
I don't know what's wrong with it. I have to turn the headphone jack really carefully so I can keep sound.
Makes sense. Is that the headphones or the jack?
Or the jack, I probably dropped my phone or something.
I bet it's a solder point on the jack.
I'm pro
Used
jack.
to be a big problem.
I don't know anyone who doesn't want a headphone jack on their phone. I mean, like,
It's just such a ubiquitous
And
piece
like, why
of
take
technology.
the option away?
And also for stuff that's really expensive, like you can buy incredibly expensive headphones.
yeah. Apple's going to do this in the next phone, and they're
Yep.
going to have some reason about how they made it thinner, and it's even better
You're gonna
quality.
get better. You're going to get amazing sound because it's all digital all the way. Even
No,
this-
it's not. It's fundamentally.
You know why? Because lightning makes no sound.
It does make a sound. It makes a fucking sound. It's just why do these things keep coming back in this way? Xbox 360 production is over.
That makes me sad a tiny little bit.
Makes me sad, and it like worries me whenever one of these things goes out of circulation. Like if I have a PC, I can play a game from 1980 something or emulate it.
Yeah.
Like whenever something like this happens, like a little segment of games just withers and dies.
Yeah. Although if you talk to Chris Crane, who's editor of Polygon, he has like a totally reworked NES, like Nintendo Entertainment System, like that is actually like crystal clear. And I don't think that it's like that generation of consoles has been reworked and redeveloped several times. I'm actually very worried about the sort of like 360
Yeah.
PS3 generation because they're just too complicated. And
We just don't have the same level of nostalgia that will drive us to do things with them. Hopefully we will
interesting.
develop it. But I think there's a kind of cachet to like, oh, I work with NES systems and I do crazy things with them.
yeah.
And that no one necessarily feels that way about the 360, or at least no one who is really popular.
What's the most iconic Xbox 360 game?
Halo.
Yeah.
Gears of War.
Yeah, it's one of those two,
Yeah.
right? Everything else I'm thinking of is like cross-platform.
Yeah.
What's the most iconic PS3 game? Halo.
I've never been a
like an
PlayStation
Uncharted.
guy.
Yeah, I've never.
Oh, Uncharted. Uncharted's a good one.
Yeah.
What's their like big exclusive franchise?
Yeah. But it's still I wouldn't call that on the level. I'm gonna get angry emails about this. I would not put Uncharted on the level of Halo.
Oh, speaking of angry emails,
Love an angry email.
if you think that Google Play is superior to Spotify,
No,
Google Play Music is superior to Spotify, email Nilay about it because now you can listen to the Vergecast on Google Play Music.
You can, and the icon looks like a pizza, which is
Breakfast
very
pizza.
very nice. So hey, that's a good transition. You didn't even know.
Oh,
Well, you
okay.
did know because you might have the run-in open. Last lightning round item: Kanye West, unprecedented move, reworking his already released album on streaming services just whenever he wants. Reworked it on Apple Music last week.
So wild. I'm so glad I have a cassette version of the original release
Really?
on my desk. Yeah.
Do you think that's like? Is that acceptable? It's kind of like a weird idea.
That's some George Lucas shit right there.
It's really weird.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't even like know what to, it's crazy. He's doing a lot of things right now. Always talking about Kanye.
Well, I
Not
mean-
a moment goes by. I just had a really intense interview about him.
Really? With who?
Yeah.
allowed
A
to
music
say?
writer that I'm interviewing for a story.
I'll ask you a question. When you publish a story to Racked,
Yeah.
how long has to elapse before you don't feel comfortable updating it? So if I publish a story to The Verge,
Oh, if there's like,
and there's some,
there's like a TK or like I'm gonna go in there and yeah.
Well, TK's typos, like I think those you can fix those whenever.
Yeah.
Right. I publish a story and I'm like, oh man, I wish I just deleted that sentence. And if it's the first 3 to 5 minutes, I'll be like, whatever, I can just like update it. Like no one's seen it yet. It's not
Yeah.
part of the record.
If it
It's
hasn't been
more than
tweeted.
5 minutes. I start to feel really antsy. I'm like, if I update this story in this way, I gotta put an update at the bottom.
Yeah.
There's a correction. Da da da.
I agree. Like a couple of minutes. It's
Couple of
touchy.
minutes.
That's really touchy.
Right?
Yeah.
Kanye had that record out for like 3 weeks and he just went back and just changed it.
But he doesn't have any like. It's not like someone's asking him to uphold an ethics policy. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't owe anyone.
It's just the nature of like digital media. It means that you can,
Yeah.
and no one in music has ever thought that they should.
I'll say,
Yeah.
yeah, it's the integrity of artistic work.
Right.
That's why we keep talking about this man. I can't get rid of him because he
You
keeps doing
try it?
stuff to talk about.
Yeah. No, I think it's just crazy that the idea that he's like, this isn't a malleable thing. The idea that people are suing him because he tweeted that it would never be on Apple, and then it is amazing. Do you know this? There's like at
Yeah.
least 2 class action suits against Kanye West because he tweeted that it would only ever be on Tidal and never on iTunes. So everyone signed up for Tidal and they put it out. It's
I
the
got suckered
saddest.
into that,
The
and I
reason
wound up paying
Really?
for a month. It sucked. 'Cause
I did
didn't
not.
cancel in
Like,
time.
if you didn't realize that after it was over and after the curve went down,
But I
he would
didn't
put it
want to
everywhere.
wait. I was like ready. I was
You
like,
didn't
all right.
wait. You bought it on cassette.
But theoretically, couldn't you sue
buy
like
it.
every game developer then? Because
They
it's
patch
not coming
everything.
to this platform. Oh, it is coming to this platform. Thing seems pretty much standard.
Well, I've
Yeah.
been looking to start a lucrative garbage class action lawsuit business.
Yeah.
It works.
There's a really
I
good,
can get every one of you 26 cents and 30% off your next video game purchase if you give me millions of dollars in lawyer fees.
There's a really good Planet Money or Freakonomics podcast on class action from the past couple of weeks. You should listen to it. Go find
Yeah.
it. You'll find it. My take is the new reason to like buy music isn't to like have a library or feel like you own a thing or whatever. It's because you don't trust streaming service fuckery.
Yeah.
Like I went looking for a song I wanted to listen to that was stuck in my head randomly by Ben Lee. It's an album called Breathing Tornadoes. Terrible, not good, but like the couple of songs I really like that were important to me way back when. And it's just like not around, but I happened to have bought it and like uploaded it to like a Google Play locker so like I could listen to it. And I'm realizing that for stuff that I really, really like, I'm going to start buying it because I don't trust Apple or Spotify or Tidal or Google to like hang on to the licenses for it in perpetuity.
Yeah.
And this is the argument for piracy.
Yeah.
That pirates
Actually,
will
Carmen,
preserve
put a good
everything
article.
forever.
Yep.
Man, I gotta find this article. There was definitely an article when Napster first started hitting in college. I read this article about this guy in New Jersey who had set up an entire room of his house because he had become inspired by the idea that he alone would preserve the world's content.
Yeah.
And he was like running up these massive power bills, and his wife was like, "What are you doing upstairs?" And he just had like tower PC after tower PC downloading everything that he could.
Whoa.
I gotta find it. It's like an ancient piece, but like there's like a cabal of these people who believe this. It's amazing.
Well, I think with books like this, been proven absolutely worthwhile. That like there are so many weird orphan works that no one is ever going to do anything with, and they just disappear. And
Right.
Google Books is actually an amazing service for this.
Yeah.
They won. Well, they won by default. The Supreme. It's a really bad Simpsons reference. The Supreme Court didn't take up the Google Books case, so Google just wins.
Thing's been going on for like a decade.
Yeah. So the Authors Guild sued Google about scanning 10 million books for Google Books. It got all the way to Supreme Court. Supreme Court said, whatever. Basically, Google's fine.
Yeah, and notably, like you cannot access these anywhere. Their whole argument is like you can look at them in libraries that have the book,
Right.
or you can like get them with some kind if the author agrees to put them up or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were upset about just the scanning of it.
Yeah. It's funny. Google won their default won their Google Books case the same week that the EU cracked down on them for Android. I'm sure they would prefer the Android win over the Google Books win.
If you are listening to us live right now, go follow Zenturo, ZENTOURO. It's Miriam Nelson, one of our video directors. There's people just drinking beer out of a straw that's in a bag.
Yeah.
Our coworkers,
it's a Wi-Fi keg.
Sophie and Ross.
We have a Wi-Fi keg in the office.
What is a Wi-Fi keg?
It's a smart keg. It's like magic.
A smart keg.
It's like being in reality, but you're dreaming.
Is it the Juicero for beer?
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
Sophie
It's so sad.
Erickson,
It's so
you can
sad that
follow
we all
her on
know.
Twitter, is drinking a giant Capri Sun full of beer.
Yeah. So you buy the beer in the bag, and the CO2 is next to the beer, and then when you like put the cup in, it pressurizes the beer
cool.
and puts it in the thing.
So it's like epoxy glue
So it's a
beer?
soda
It's like a-
stream for beer.
Keurig for everything is going to be a thing that happens to us now.
Pod
Right.
everything.
And it's Keurig for beer.
Yeah. What can't be potted?
Ooh.
I mean, isn't the question you're asking what isn't a liquid?
Yeah.
What
maybe.
isn't a liquid?
No, but you can pod food into like energy bars.
This is called a cake mix also.
Yeah.
But cake. Wait,
No.
is cake mix a liquid?
No, it's a potted food. You add water to it, and it's preserved. It's basically.
Are we gonna tell this the story about the egg with the?
Is the egg thing real? I tracked down the book that it was supposed to be in, and I haven't been a few years ago, and I couldn't verify it
I'm still stuck on the cake mix.
because I got really mad because wait. Does everyone know the story?
No.
Tell the story.
Okay, the egg thing is that the idea was that in the 1950s, when packaged foods were just becoming a thing, you would have cake mixes that all you needed to add was water. But people didn't trust these things, and they didn't feel like they were doing enough work cooking. So they added an egg, and it was entirely unnecessary. But it made 50s housewives feel like they were really doing something real, and made
They
it
were
feel like
actually
real
cooking.
food.
Yeah, actually baking.
And so that is supposedly why there are always eggs in cake and brownie mixes. Again, I haven't been able to verify this.
Neither have I. Although I will say that I believe it simply because pancake mix that requires an egg and pancake mix that doesn't come out exactly the same for me.
And also that there is actually a legitimately long and very interesting book on the adoption of powdered and packaged foods in the 1950s or 30s to 50s. And it apparently was a really weird, fraught journey.
Wow.
Sorry, I just gotta really talk about it.
Okay.
Talk about what I'm doing.
There's not enough conversation around Dippin' Dots. That was the format we were promised.
Man, have you ever burned your tongue on Dippin' Dots?
Yes.
The worst.
Yes, like freezer burn. But that's was supposed to be the ice cream of the future. Here we are.
Do you think you can
That,
make
ladies and
Soylent Dippin'
gentlemen,
Dots?
It's the Vergecast.
That was. I got
trying
it.
to wrap up.
Yeah,
You
no,
want-
that was a Vergecast.
Okay.
Nicola makes a good point about Dippin' Dots.
I'll start a forum post.
The egg thing, I believe, is real.
Lightning doesn't make sound.
Lightning makes a fucking sound, Dieter. It's called thunder. I don't know what to tell you.
Thunder makes sound.
And we all miss Prince.
What's the sound of lightning? It's Prince.
Yes.
There it is. Thundering away from us in our hearts. I don't know, that doesn't make any sense at all.
A beautiful shock of light. We all
If you're in New York,
experience.
I just found out that Questlove's DJ set at Brooklyn Bowl tonight. It's all Prince all the time.
Ooh.
There you go. Okay, that was Vergecast. Dieter, do you want to run through our engagements?
You can follow us in all sorts of places. On Snapchat, we're Verge. You should rate us 5 stars on iTunes. You will also find other lovely Verge podcasts. You'll find What's Tech with Chris Plant. You'll find Verge ESP with Emily Oshida and Elizabeth Lopato. And you can also find other great Vox Media podcasts. Recode's got a couple of great podcasts. They've got what have they got? They got Recode Decode, Kara Swisher. There's a Recode Media,
That's
Peter
very good.
Kafka, and there's also
Too Embarrassed to Ask.
Too Embarrassed to Ask with Lauren Good, and special guests on all those shows. It's always really fun to listen to. On Verge, on Twitter, we're on theverge.com. We're on Twitter. We're at Verge.
Yeah.
We're in some other places too. And we're on Google Play now as a podcast, so you should go check us out there if you're a
Google Play Music,
user.
the best music service out there. They did it. It looks like a pizza. Also, I'm just going to say this.
Yeah.
Next week on The Verge, going to be bonkers.
You
You're
are
like
going
it.
to lose your mind. If you're a Vergecast listener, you want to go check out what's happening on theverge.com on Monday.
You're going to like it.
It's going to be great. I'm gonna give a hint. Can I give one
No.
hint? One hint.
All right, fine.
I'm buying a neon sign.
Yeah, it's true. It's a good hint. It's good. It's a good hint.
Yeah,
Monday.
Monday.
You're going to like it.
Get
okay.
ready.
Is that it? Nicola, do you have any news?
Nah, just sticking on,
Sperlin? Doing it.
Paul.
Paul. Rock and roll. Goodbye.